This is the journey to one Africa.
Yeah.
We maybe want to ask you to close maybe what you took from this event that you're going to bring towards the NINSE, what you have been listening as being here as NINSE, and also to what extent you find there is enough or maybe not enough talk about a continental perspective on this transatlantic slavery and colonial present instead of history. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Well, I think that there's not enough talked about this. It seems like at NINSE that we focus on the Caribbean part of Holland and Suriname as those places where the Dutch stated the structure of slavery, but it started at the motherland, in the motherland, Africa. And that is something that is not enough emphasized. And a few months ago in September, I saw a clip on YouTube where President Ramaphosa said to President Macron, "Give us back what you stole from us 400 years ago." And I think that that is the essence. And he also said, whatever you think about him, we are not beggars.
Yeah.
And I think that, and that is why I think, and that is also the reason why NINSE emphasizes on history, knowing the history, emphasizes on the awareness of not only the slave history, but on its effects on daily life. Because if Mr. Ramaphosa is talking about give us back what you took from us 400 years ago, he's referring to slavery and the whole structure in Africa that is based upon it then and now. And I agree with Farus, it's not neocolonialism, it's the same structure.
Yeah.
We can't forget that. But I was a little bit, what I take back of this, well, I started reading when I was 6. My father was really anxious to let me learn. And he started with giving me books about Africa and magazines. And I remember the first articles that I read about Africa. And I was 6, I'm now 49. And I must say that nothing has changed. So what does it say? I agree with, I don't know which one of the two it was, is that we have to acknowledge that we ourselves are colonized. How can we change? Because how is it possible that even now we still have the same structures? How is it possible that even our governments in Africa don't do what they have to do? So I think education is very important. We have to be honest with each other. I don't believe in utopia. I do believe in unity. Mm-hmm. But before we can have unity, we must acknowledge where we are coming from and what has that done with our own minds. And because at the end of the day, the word of an African body back then, 400 years ago, is the same right now. That is the reason why there is an arrogance when it comes to, you're talking about fair trade.
Yeah.
But how is it that when we want to talk about fair trade for African goods, nothing happens? How is it that we have those lending structures? Prime Minister Mudley made a comparison that when Greece wants to lend money, and it has the same economic structure as Ghana, the terms are different.
Yeah.
The basis is rooted within our world history. The transatlantic slave history is not something from Holland. It's world history.
Yeah.
So as long as we don't acknowledge that and the effects that it has on us, then I think in 30 years we will still have the same discussion. It's not a very positive note, but it is what it is. And I think it asks for us to take action. And what will I take from this to NINSE? I think that NINSE started with wanting to have more, to have recognition of the ancestors, the power of the ancestors. We wanted the apologies. We wanted to make sure that history was being told. And I believe that we are going to have that we're in the next phase. And that means that the triangle, as it started in the slave time, Africa, the Korean parts of Holland, and Suriname, and Europe, that we have to talk about it more and take action about that more, because Khalid is your name? Yes.
Yeah.
My heart breaks every time, and it was even when the Ukrainian war started, when we saw our allies who also made apologies on the local level, understood why African Ukrainians didn't get the same rights as their own brothers and sisters from Ukraine. They said, well, they look like us, so we understand. And if we don't acknowledge it and take into mind why people leave their country. I fled my country when I was 16 with my parents. It's not because we wanted to leave, but we're talking about unsafe places. But how can we talk about migration in Holland when we accept that the conditions in those countries are not being met at a proper rate? So there is a lot of work for us to do. I don't know if at NINSE we can do it by ourselves, so that's why we believe in allies. Yeah. But the real conversation is not, it's about the black skin. It's not about the borders. It's not about the different countries. People of African descent worldwide, we have a problem. And it's really time to acknowledge this. And I think that if we're talking about after the comma, this should be one of those things. So that is one thing that I take back to Africa, to NINSE.
To NINSE, you bring Africa back to
United States of Africa.
To NINSE. And I want to thank you because it's the first time I think that we supported this event. And thank you for the opportunity to do this. And we have to do it more. And we're very open to do this.
Thank you. So that's also called to you.